in
What's
business.
up, everybody? Welcome. Oh my god. For fuck's sake.
It's alright, you can just
Don't
start
stop. Yeah, no, we can.
Yeah,
we
don't mind,
can
don't
just
mind,
start
don't
it
mind,
whenever.
don't mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, okay. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the 12th episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. As always, I'm your host, Darren, and joining me today we have Ben.
Hello.
Carl.
Hello.
Shikozi.
Hello.
And Gary.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
I'm pretty good.
Not too bad.
I'm pretty
Not bad.
friggity fresh.
Yeah, we've had some recording issues today. We normally just do it through Discord. We've spent the last hour trying to figure out an alternative because it's not been working. But hopefully this works. I am looking at mine though, and it looks like I'm recording 2 tracks and not 1.
It's stereo.
Yeah, me too.
Stereo, baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
stereo. Okay. So if I go over here, and then if I go over here, you're going to be able to hear that. Maybe. I don't know.
The other problem we have now is we don't have the flexibility of a little mute button. So there's all the shit that's going to be left in here. All the shit that Carl's going to have to try and trim out. That'd be fun
No,
for him.
but like all you need to do, right, is like look for like lower volume sounds, right, and cut them out because it's not going to be as loud as our voices or as consistent. So if you see a random little blip, you just smooth it out.
Yeah.
Like,
I also realized that it'd actually be a lot easier for it'll be a lot clearer because with the Discord we're like sending our voice over IP and all that stuff. So like all the random cutouts will be cut out. So like it'll actually just be more consistent.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Well, people won't be cutting out because it's not. That's actually.
Yeah,
Hashtag
just
rage.
recording the mic.
But our fans don't need to hear all this. I'll cut all this out.
No, don't cut it all out.
don't
This
cut
is
it out.
great.
This is like a moment of realization for
This
us.
is a glimpse behind the curtain.
Yeah.
This is the first
Okay.
topic of the show, actually.
Stop being a goddamn tyrant, Carl.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
that's the problem. Is like we don't know what Carl's doing. Like he could be. I mean, obviously, if we listen to the podcast, we do.
Do we listen to it?
You don't listen to the podcast.
No, I do. I actually do. I just hate the sound of my own voice.
Yeah,
so if
honestly,
I could
it's a struggle for me listening to myself as well.
yeah,
The best
I'm
the
such
best
a
thing for me
fucking
about
tool.
this podcast is listening to you guys. I can listen to your voices for hours. I mean, I literally do listen to your voices for hours.
Yeah.
And it fits really well. And everyone who I've spoken to who's listened to it has said your voices suit the podcast well. Sorry, Gary. It's mainly Darren. He is the host. He just suits the host really well.
Darren has a good voice.
I don't want to throw a wrench in it, but one of the guys I know that listens to it says he got tired of Darren being the MC. But that's just him though.
What did he say? What?
He said that he got tired of you being the MC. He wants to hear Ben be MC.
Okay. That's
But
fine.
I told him to go fuck himself. So it was all good.
This is Jacozy's alter ego who said this
No,
to
you
him.
see,
This was my friend Burkozy.
you could have done a
Just
bit better than.
He's looking in the mirror. He shouldn't be host next week. I should be host. You should be host, Jacozy. You should be host.
Punches in the mirror.
Green Goblin Spider-Man.
Darren!
Yeah.
He stole it from us, Smeagol.
Exactly.
Lord.
You can cut
That's
that
okay, Dan. I defended you. I said that you were probably best suited for it as well.
I think it's an ego thing, which is why people say Ben or me, is because I think Ben and I have the biggest egos.
What?
No, I think
Oh,
it's
Ben, you
because
love the
two-
sound of your own voice.
I don't
Don't
think I
fucking
have an
lie.
ego.
No,
Do I have an
I think it's
ego?
because you two talk the most, and then Ben has this like classy English accent, kind of, you know.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to
Then
the
it's
12th
classy.
episode of the Mountains of
Carl,
Madness
you sound like an
podcast.
absolute scanner.
That sounds practiced.
Scanner.
Apples and
Ganger.
pears stairs, Cockney lad.
I'm not a cockney. I am so not a fucking cockney, mate. Seriously.
Oh, chop, you're gabbering, mate. I'm not a cockney.
I just think if we had people like listening in America, no matter who of us MCs, they'd be like, oh, it's such a fancy accent because Irish and English. Like I go to America and people ask me if I'm English all the time. Like they don't have they don't know a difference, you know. So
Yeah.
I think maybe we might look at Ben like, oh, he's got a fancy English accent, and Carl's probably like, Ben just has a voice.
No, he calls me
I
a
don't
cockney
think
cunt
so.
as well.
Well, yeah, well you are Cockney, so.
I'm glad you just stopped there.
So what games have people been playing the last week?
Well, rather predictably, I've been playing Overwatch and PUBG mainly.
I think we should just
What?
skip
No
past
way.
Gary at this
Yeah,
segment.
maybe we should. Yeah.
Hey, has anyone platinum Bloodborne? Maybe.
Is that a thing?
Man, if I had Platinum Bloodborne, I would never stop telling people.
It's a good job you haven't.
Gary, what do you think of the new 1.0 updates for PUBG?
They're good. It's a good direction. I think there's a lot of work still needed. Honestly, they seem to be kind of getting things that don't necessarily need fixing and improving them anyway, rather than like really like basic stuff that does need fixing, in my opinion.
Like the rubber banding.
Yeah. Well, actually, they have kind of addressed the rubber banding, but I mean just more like the fact that the servers run on like 8 tick rate, where like know
What?
even it's 8 like
That's
8
ridiculous.
ticks.
That's
Yeah,
even
it's
lower than
insane.
Destiny.
So you get desync killed all the time. So say I could be in full cover from a dude, like peek out, take a shot, and go back into cover,
Yeah.
and then die while I'm in cover on my screen.
That's
So
ridiculous.
stuff like that. But I reckon it's the game engine as opposed to the servers, because at this point, like I'm fairly sure if you want good servers, you just buy good servers, and they have a shit ton of money. But you can't really buy good game code. You just have to get your people to do it. So, but yeah.
Well, technically, if you pay people to build code,
Yes,
then you're paying for the code.
technically you are, yes. But yeah, aside from that, I guess I've been playing Overwatch as well. The Overwatch League just kicked off very recently.
Exciting.
A little, I guess.
Yay.
But yeah, no, I watched the first, like, I don't know, day, I guess, of it on Twitch. There was like 3 games between like 2 of the teams, and they brought in like a thing where you can buy like specific team skins for every hero in the game.
I
in
saw
the game
that.
now. Yeah, but obviously the only way to get the points to buy them is with money. So yeah. But I think they're giving out some free points here and there. So I think you can snag some skins if you're wily.
Man, I need to stop thinking that I'm gonna play a certain game for a long time, because it's happened a lot where I'll get a game and I'm like, this is my game now. I'm gonna play 1,000 hours of this game and I'm gonna be really good at it, because I just need to look at myself and realize that I get way too sick of games after a while. Like I'll play Overwatch a lot and then I'm just like, ugh, I'm done with it now, and move on. Whereas when I got it, I was like, this is gonna be my thing. I'm gonna know all the characters. I'm gonna be so good. And then it's like, nope.
Yeah,
Not
no,
anymore.
I think I would be the other way, in the sense that I do like playing the same game for, a long time, and getting just better at it. Kind of,
Yeah.
learn the higher end stuff if you want.
I do play an awful lot of FIFA, I guess, which
Yeah,
is
you do.
which is kind of I feel a little bit ashamed of, to be honest, because I would consider myself a gamer, and then it's just like, yeah, but FIFA's probably my most played game. But the thing about it is just like, it's almost just like an autopilot thing. You know what I mean? Where I just sit down
you can
and
chill
I
out
just
and play.
like my FIFA time is really my podcast or music listening time. I just want to do something with my hands as well. If that makes sense.
I would be the same.
I like
listen
multiple stimuli coming through at once.
Yeah, like if I listen to podcasts, I'll usually do it while I'm playing Overwatch. If I'm just playing on my own.
But you wouldn't with
stick-
PUBG.
No, I wouldn't. Oh no, hell no.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that'd be
Gotta
terrifying.
listen for
I
those
think.
footsteps.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all have those games we fall back on, like Rocket League.
Rocket
You
League.
should go to end of a game session, just have a few games of Rocket League. Or when you can't be bothered to think about anything else, any new mechanics, controls, or story, cutscenes, whatever, just boot up a quick game, 5-10
Yeah,
minutes.
It's actually so weird, because like I found myself like, it's like after like I know like before I go to bed, right, and it's like I'm playing like Warframe or whatever game, like Division or something like that, right. I find myself basically just like, oh, I'm just gonna play a quick game of Rocket League, wind down before I go to bed, which is strange,
Isn't it? And then it's mad
Yeah.
stressful, and it's like, fucking hell, I've lost, we're not going out on a loss, we need a win. And then we're there till 1 o'clock in the morning, not on a work night, just in case anyone from work is listening.
It's funny actually. I've had that before with PUBG. I've been playing like some games. It's like I'll go to bed after this game, and one particular night I was like, I won the game before I went to bed, and because like it's when you're in the last 1v1, I would say it's relatively like adrenaline fueled.
I love that bit
when
where your heart starts to beat and your brain's
Exactly,
going,
yeah.
fucking blood rushing.
And I essentially won, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's go!" And then I tried to go to sleep. It's fucking impossible. So difficult. I was awake for like half an hour, just lying in bed, just
Waiting
like
for your body to
wired.
just calm
Yeah.
down.
You know what you need to do there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, enough said.
Have a wank. Oh,
I was
sorry.
going to say a glass of
Okay,
warm
yeah,
milk.
there we
but
go.
Okay.
What
So,
were you
Cozy,
gonna
what
say,
have you been
Carl?
playing?
Glass of warm milk.
Kind of the same thing, I guess.
Kind of
Depends how much you pack in.
It's milky.
Okay.
Cozy, what have you been playing?
Exciting. I've been playing GTA 5.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about that.
You see, I wanted to start talking about GTA 5, but I knew it would probably consume a good bit of time because it's
Yes.
what you, Carl, and I have been playing the last week or so. I bought GTA 5 for the second time.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did because
I kind of just saw a Let's Play online, just kind of stumbled across one, just looking for something to watch on YouTube, and I was just like, man, I always wanted to play GTA 5 when it came out originally on PS3 before I'd ever knew you guys. I really wanted to play that game with people, you know?
the online section.
Yeah, but I just never had friends that had it, and I remember trying to get friends to buy it, and Cathal wouldn't buy a PlayStation, and like I just couldn't play it with anybody, and I was like, this would be so much fun if I had a group of friends, and I was reminded of that, and then was like, wait a minute, I have a group of friends now that play PlayStation, so I wonder if they actually have played GTA 5, and yeah, just picked it up, and
The
we've been
rest they
having a
say?
blast.
Oh, it's so good. The stuff you can do in it now is crazy. I mean, the flying cars, the mobile.
Yeah, you can get a
operation
DeLorean,
centers.
Gary, and it flies.
You can get a DeLorean.
I was literally.
God damn.
Darren had spawned in next to me, and we were looking at this building because it had Penrith written on it. But if you moved the camera, the statue out the front blocked out the R, so it looked like penis.
Of
on the
course,
front.
yeah.
Just tiny little details like that is what fleshes out GTA 5's map. But as we did that, there's this car that just fucking span round near us and then just took off. And it was a DeLorean. He's just flying up into the sky, goes and flies towards his two cranes, and we just sat there looking at him, watching him, moving the camera
Yeah.
around, following him in the sky, just fly around. It's
That's
fucking
amazing.
so cool. It's like mobile air units, mobile trucks where you're planning heists from. You can have cars and bikes in the back of. You can have bunkers. You can have like this orbital strike now where you can just press a button and blow up this small area of the map and kill everything in it. It's just so cool, the stuff they've thought
But
of.
those things aren't fun in of themselves, you know. Like you
Yeah,
need
in
to
isolation,
you need to have
yeah.
things to do with it as well.
Yes.
And I mean the heist that we did yesterday, the bank, or not the bank one, the prison break one, where Carl is dressed as a prisoner and you are a police officer, bringing him into prison, and then Logue is off, intercepting a police van, crashing it, replacing it, and then like getting in a helicopter to rescue us.
Yeah, because
then-
he's taken down the van we then become to stop them from arriving at the prison. So he stops them, then he goes off and supports you, while we're
Yeah,
already
whereas-
intercepting.
And I'm the pilot, so I'm getting a plane and like circling overhead basically. And then they send a fighter jet after me, and then Logue is in a helicopter trying to take down the fighter jet so I can land on the airstrip, pick you guys up. Then we like parachute out into the ocean, swim back to the beach, and then Logue swings by and picks. It's just like
Sounds epic.
it's
weaves
so much
so well.
fun.
Yeah,
You know,
weaves
and I'm
so
just
well.
flying around in circles, like literally in and over the mountain peaks, swinging around, avoiding homing missiles, and like you guys are just like in this big fucking firefight at the same time.
Yeah,
it's
in the prison-
so
in the prison
good,
break.
like.
And we're
Yeah, the
talking to
prison
each other
break.
the whole time, and then I'm like, right, we're in the van, we're coming now, get on the airstrip, start landing, and then there's coppers on the runway, and there's Logue still taking out jets, and we get out the truck, Darren's having to reverse so he gets a long enough run up to take off, and then
And
we
I'm like
run
opening
towards
the
him.
side panels, and they're running towards me, and there's
Yeah.
bullets flying, and I'm like trying to like get it so I can have a straight way to take off, but they're like cars are flying up towards me. There was actually one moment where there was one coming right at me, and whoever was driving
me.
Ben or
I
car,
saw
it was
it.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben saw that he was going to block the runway, so it like crashes into him and knocks him out of my way, and then gets out and fights his way on.
Wow.
It's just like if you hadn't done
That's
that,
amazing.
we would have failed, and we would have started the whole thing again,
The planes
just
are
based off
so
that one thing, you
sensitive,
know.
aren't they? You crash into a
Yeah.
box, it'll blow up, like a cardboard
So
box.
are these like custom games, kind of, in a sense, or are they actually in the game now?
No, it's in-game
They're
story.
in the game, yeah,
Okay,
in-game
awesome,
story
awesome.
on online. Like I think there's 5 heists now.
Well,
but
there's
they all
5
have like
base heists, plus the one tutorial one that we did with just the 2 players, and then
Yeah.
there's the Doomsday heist series, which is it's a 2-parter. So there's it's 3 parters, and each one has 4 setup missions. So you do
Each
four
heist,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's 3 main heists of the one overall heist, and you do 4 setup missions within that. So if you like, you've kind of got 8 plus the 1 tutorial. But the crazy stuff you do in the Doomsday one, like going underwater in the submarine car, using the secret agent cars with the machine guns to take people down. Just the story's so well fleshed out in the online bit. For people who just play GTA 5 and don't go on to the online bit, you can be passive the whole time. It's just that you're losing out. There is so much there.
Well, you could do that, but you could play the single player, but then you could play the online part on your own still. So you're getting like 2 games for one. Still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like even one of the setup missions where Ben and I are on the roof with sniper rifles, and there's like these 2 like witnesses coming to court with like a testimony or something. We need to take them out at the same time and then run down and grab the written document while Logue and Carl are off like trying to find an informant or whatever and like gun him down in a chase, like, and it's happening simultaneously, and then we meet back up, you know, and like everything you do like hinges, everything everyone does hinges on the other person, you know, like one person fails, everything just falls apart.
Yeah,
it's just so much fun.
It's good with other friends. I mean, you can still play in match-made jobs. You can just play anything on there with other people, which is fine because everyone it's just a revenue for money, so they'll just play everything and anything again. But these are just missions in the online world. That what Darren's just described is just a mission. So us 4 will go into this little area, set up the job, choose your costumes or your outfits, your masks, all that kind of stuff, and then you're off. Little bit coordinated. Awesome. It is so much fun. I mean, the difficulty is it's 4 people at a time.
Yeah. I wish they cross-platformed. That'd be amazing. So
Yeah.
I could just like plug a controller in and play with you guys.
Well, you could have just bought it for 30 quid and played it on Tim's PlayStation because he's never around anyway.
I guess. See, I just kind of feel bad. Sorry, I kind of feel bad buying it because I do have money in my fucking Steam wallet, and I'm like, I could just buy it here, and this is definitely where I would play it more, you know.
But you wouldn't though, because the controls would be absolutely awful on keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, that is true. Actually,
you would need to plug it in. Like even with the aiming, right? There's a heavy aim assist, so I can't. I can no longer aim with a controller, right? So all I need to do is aim assist and then tap up a little bit so it lines with the head. So I can still get consistent headshots, but if I'm free aiming, I still am awful. You know, like you don't really need it.
It's not made for it. The mechanics just aren't there for that kind of combat, so they've catered for it.
But I mean, I've been playing for a week now, and I haven't done any death matches or any of those game modes in a single race. I just haven't done that.
The Slashers one you've got to try while it's on.
I know. I just haven't done it. Like
you're dressed up like a killer clown with a shotgun and a flashlight, and it's pitch black in this bunker. So you wander around and you pull out your shotgun, and then it shines your flashlight. And then you wander around, and then when you have to hunt these unarmed people down who have night vision or thermal vision. And they just got a kosh. So they have no other weapon except for a kosh. So they're trying to sneak up on you and kill you. But the thing is, the roles reverse every 60 seconds. So if you're working your way towards a guy and when you're in close proximity, the pad starts to vibrate and you hear a heartbeat and it's pulsing. So it's like getting your adrenaline going. And then the timer's up and you're right behind him with the kosh. Or he's right behind you with the kosh and then timer's up and the roles reverse. You've then got a shotgun, a flashlight, and it's pitch black. So if you don't have your flashlight out, he can see you straight away and he just bonks you on the head and you're dead. But it's so cool watching people hunt down the killer clowns with the koshes. There's a few of you dotted about and then you just close in on him. It's a pretty cool game mode, well thought out. It's not explained very well, but I guess it's the hand holding aspect. So you've got to figure out how to put your flashlight on, how to put your thermal vision on and stuff like that. It's brilliant mode. And there's none of this kill-death ratio business. You don't need to worry about that. You have such a laugh in all the games. I mean, stunt racing, 20 races, 24 races, whatever it is. Maybe more. I don't know what the cap is. But you don't need to worry about what your kill-death ratio is, how many races you've won. You just go in, you're earning money, you're earning rep. Yeah, you earn more money the higher you get, but it's such a laugh. Such a laugh.
Yeah, I've seen some of the... I don't know if it was recent. Well, it must have been a little bit ago, but when they added the, like... I don't know. I'm not sure whether it was like custom server options or whether they were actually in the game. But these like crazy ass car races with like
cunning stunts.
You know these.
They're like separate playlists. So you're in the world and there's 30 players in the world you're in, like a server instance. But then you load into a different version of another server instance with the people in that playlist, and then you can stay in a playlist and vote on jobs. So you can have a random one, you can have 5, or you can ask for a refresh of the list. or go back to
Yeah,
free
yeah.
mode with those, or back into your other server instance.
So it just kind of puts you into like a lobby of people,
Exactly.
and you can pick whatever you
Yeah.
want to play. That's awesome.
And then you stay in that playlist. You keep playing races. You keep playing this, and it stacks up. You level up quickly. You get loads of money. You go back to free mode, do some missions and heists. It's good solo.
But then you get money, and then there's like obviously vehicles you can buy, and like property, like houses you can buy, and then you buy a house is how you set up heists. But then you can also buy offices. So like Shikozy was kind enough to just give me some. Shikozy gave me like $1.2 million that he got like a code for in GameStop. So he gave me all this money yesterday, and I just went and I bought an office, and now I'm a CEO, and I can like choose my CEO outfit, so I can be like a Steve Jobs, or I can be like an oil baron, or I can be, like I can pick like the different CEOs. I can be an Elon Musk, like outfit wise. The oil baron like has like the leather jacket with the fur in the collar and like the hat. You know what I mean?
10-gallon hat.
And it's just like, oh, it's so good. And then this is like, okay, so from there, then I can start to buy warehouses and move crates of goods. And basically, you have to buy the crates, and then there's missions that you can hire other people for.
Oh, okay.
And then you can like deliver the goods that you buy and make profit off them, and that's how you make real big money. Where you're buying things for like 40k and selling them for 100k. You know?
Yeah. So there's
a bunch of
different
times.
job types. So there's the heists, and then there's motorcycle clubs, where you do drug running and document forging and things like that, where you buy or steal supplies, hire your friends, issue them positions in your MC. Then they evolve that into the CEO bit that Darren's just explained there, and he issues out roles and responsibilities as well, and you get bonuses for performing that role. So yesterday we were just testing out the CEO bit. He set me up as his bodyguard, and as long as I was in proximity of him, I was earning rep because I was fulfilling my duties of a bodyguard. Yeah, so RP rep points is the experience bar.
Okay.
Also, another thing, Ben, that I found out from reading it earlier today, as long as you're hired by me as well, every 10 minutes it pays you money.
Oh, sweet.
And depending on how much money I'm making as a CEO, it depends on how much money you get paid.
The detail,
and it doesn't take the money away from me as well. So I think the maximum you can make, money. I think it's like 10 grand every 10 minutes.
That's cool.
Holy shit.
You're just hired by me.
The details are so cool. Like in the GTA 5 online world, depending on the size of your apartment and your garage, you have to pay your mechanic, your insurance premiums, your utility bills, and they just come out in regular intervals of like $75 for your utility bills this day, stuff like that. And
how big are the group sizes? Like how big can your team be?
I'm not
so there
sure
is no
yet.
teams. It's a weird thing, right? It's not like in Destiny where you get a party, right? Like you're just in the world together, and you could just walk around with each other, and it tells you if your friends are in the same crew. But then it also, it doesn't like bind you together. So you can invite friends into your apartment, and that's just people on your friends list, or you can invite individuals. But you're not like, it's not like this thing where I go, Shikozy, let's party up, and you go, I accept that invitation, and then we are bound together.
Yeah,
doesn't do that.
You're just running about like.
Yeah, so potentially 30 people in an open free world,
So
like
it can
that's
be
the max
everybody
number.
and the instance can be in your CEO.
But then if I start a mission, right, that mission might be a 2-person mission,
Yeah.
and that's only 2 people. Then I can invite one other person. I think most heists are 4-man, right?
Yes, yeah, they are. They're all 4 men.
Yeah, they're all
Except for
4-man.
the 2-man tutorial. But moving on from the CEO bit, without going to a fully fledged review, you've then got the gun smuggling one, where you've got like airplanes and bunkers that you need to have, and you're smuggling guns in and out of the country using plane drops and stuff like that. You know, like how on the tutorial heist we had that cargo bob helicopter pick us up with the magnetic pickup.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. So you incorporate things like that in some of your missions, and then obviously you're making more money there as well. And then there's the Doomsday heist bit, which you get the I can't remember what they call it.
Doomsday heist is meant to be like you're taking on the government or something, or the internet's going to destroy the world or something like that, right? It's like the end of days, and you're saving the world.
I don't know
think,
yet. I haven't read too much about it because I want it to still have that surprise element to it. So I've read about some of the stuff you can use and do, but I don't know the premise of the heists.
I've seen the trailers. There was trailers on YouTube for ages for me. Kept showing me trailers.
It's worth looking at all the trailers for them, actually.
I don't want us to talk about this forever, but I do want to just say regarding the CEO missions and the drug running and the weapon smuggling, that all happens in the world of 30 other people. So you could be running drugs from one location to another. Any player in the world can then attack you. and then actually gain money from interrupting your operation. They're notified saying, oh, Ben, or whatever his name is online, just started a drug run thing. And then you can actually hunt us down when we're doing our jobs and take
That's
money
cool.
from us,
That's
which is
cool.
also adds another element to it.
You can also
Yeah, kind of like real-time events or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they can see you on the map that you're doing a job. So there'll be like a crate icon, and they can decide to actively go and seek you out and ruin your day and
I love
stop
it.
your
I love
supplies
it.
and stuff. But it's like dropping off bin bags out of a dump truck to drop drugs off, out of a seaplane. There's just so much variation on it.
Just dropping
But you
bin
can
bags
upgrade.
out of a dump truck.
Yeah,
I
you
love
can
it.
upgrade your operations, so you can hire better staff, so you get more efficiency from your supplies, or they make it quicker. You can upgrade your security so you don't get raided by the cops. That's something we need to look at with the CEO stuff to see what kind of security measures we need to put in, because you can be investigated for corruption and stuff like that. So the FBI, the FIB can turn up and start having a look into your operations and shut you down, and or take some of your profits and stuff like that. So good.
Yeah. There's also heavy rumors of it coming to the Switch, which would be
Oh my God.
another excuse to buy GTA 5.
I think that would probably push me like over the edge, being like, okay, I really got to get one of these things.
I would probably buy a
Yeah.
Switch and GTA 5 for that. I'd be at work
But,
all day, just on GTA.
Speaking of games coming to Switch, they also announced this week that Dark Souls is coming to the Switch,
Yeah, that's the other one as well. I'm like, oh god damn.
which makes me very, very excited. I think Dark Souls is probably my favorite game of all time.
I've
And
never
now I'm
got
going to
along
be
with
buying
that.
it again on PC, PS4, and Switch.
I never got along with it,
Yeah.
which is strange, because the reason I never got along with it, not the difficulty. Like, I'm fine with the reflexes and the thinking about combat, stuff like that. I do love that aspect of it, and the customization of your character as well. I like that element, and then obviously the lore. I love the world it's in. What gets me is the repetition, which is strange. So if you die, you go back to a
Oh,
fire
okay.
or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
torch, or and same element for Bloodborne. It's that repetition. You have to go back through, or if you go to level up, you have to go back through the world, or the enemies have respawned. For some reason, that element of repetition, because it's so stressful to get through a level, and the achievement's great when you get there or you open a shortcut, to then have to go back through that. I understand when you progress, it's not as difficult.
But you did play Destiny for 3 years.
But I did play. This is exactly my point. So I must have played every Destiny mission countless times, and replayed that, and strikes and raids. Why? I don't understand why it was so appealing. Maybe because it was so easy to sweep through the aspects of Destiny, and it's not the same as Dark Souls or Bloodborne.
I know it's pretty easy.
Maybe,
to sweep through
I think
Dark
what I'm
Souls
gonna
or
do is-
Bloodborne. You just got to get good, you know.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the trilogy
the
for
key.
PS4 that's been announced, not the really big 300 quid version.
That's the only version that's been announced.
Is it?
Oh, this is yeah.
Shit.
That's the only trilogy version.
Well, anyway, whatever comes
You
out
could
for
just
PS4.
buy the 3 games. They're on PS4.
Well, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Well, actually, no. I
But
only
don't
need
get-
to buy one because I've got 2 and 3 already.
Well, don't play 2. Go
Yeah,
play
fucking
1,
fuck
3,
2.
and then Bloodborne, and just don't play 2 unless after finishing the other 3, you just need to play another Souls game,
Need a fix.
because it's not
In
the
that-
same.
I think
In
I'm
that
going to
case,
give
just
it a
play
go.
the Surge.
Oh, yeah, play
Dark Souls
Surge.
2 is better than the Surge.
What?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
The thing about Dark Souls for me, I didn't even know we were going to do a Dark Souls topic. I was trying
We should have a big
to
topic.
do a nice
next week.
cheeky segue, but I just want to say a couple of things on this. We had a conversation yesterday, Ben and I, about The Division, and we were talking about in the game The Division at kind of higher difficulty levels. It introduces a more random element to things,
Yes.
so it will randomly throw enemies at you, or the game will try to adapt and throw different things at you depending on how you're playing or whatever, so that you cannot plan ahead.
You know how sometimes...
But one thing I do like about games like Dark Souls and even playing Destiny is that repetition. I like to be able to take some information in, process it, create a plan, put it into test. If it fails, go back to the drawing board and keep coming at this thing until I'm at a point, where you're like, what's that movie with Christian Bale, and they've got the crazy gunplay, and they're just like doing all the crazy moves. Equilibrium. I want to look like that, like just walk through a Dark Souls level, just like hands moving and things dying around me, and just like stroll through.
Could have had a
I
good-
love that about Dark Souls, where the literal frames of an animation that you can dodge through. Where you're like, I have fought this guy so many times that I can just take him. Like, I just love that. The idea of playing Dark Souls at first and you're afraid. you don't know what's around that corner. You're constantly checking behind yourself, and then you learn it so well that you just like, it just feels good to me. That's what I love about it. More so than the
there's an
random
element of like mastery to it.
I was just thinking.
Like
yeah.
I think because like purely of that repetition, it forces you to kind of, you know, formulate methods of how to fight different opponents, and then you realize that it's like, oh, that's how you play this game. You know, there's like
Mm-hmm.
You have the Matrix
opponents are
moment.
predictable. Yeah, exactly. You're like, holy shit, I can see inside
I
the
know
game.
Kung Fu.
You know, yeah, like because you see a guy and you're like, oh, he's swinging at me, and oh shit, here he comes, and then you realize it's like he's done that every time I've fought him. It's like if I just stand in this corner and let him walk past me, I just give him. Done. You know, you'll figure little things out. I think that's very satisfying.
I'm looking forward to that. I do like what the Division's doing though, because they have the challenging mode, which is the same where 3 shotgunners will run at you after you've killed this guy. When you go through this door, there's 2 heavy guys at the bottom. They still have that aspect, so you know when you're going through a challenging level, you go here, you do this, you kill them, you do this. It's still a challenge, but it's you know it already. But Legendary is great because there might not be 3 shotgunners. There might be 1 and 2 heavy guys. There might be a grenadier. There might be a tech guy with turrets. Might be a fire guy. Might be a support station. There's all these different variations. There might be nobody. There might be everybody, and it's different as you progress through the level. So it's on your toes all the time. It's a real test to how you've set up your squad and your kit and your gear and your kit.
Yeah,
to make sure
it
you've
tests your
covered.
flexibility, like.
Yeah, you've covered all.
Oh, yeah, there's
bases.
definitely I would also like that. You know, it still is appealing to me. I just playing through Dark Souls 1 and you're going through Undeadburg and it kicks your ass at first. Then you kind of realize, okay, these are just kind of hollow enemies. They're not too imposing. I can get around behind them. I can slap them around the head, whatever. And you get to the first checkpoint and you're like, okay, cool, I'm making progress. You travel through a bit more. And there's a part where it kind of goes down steps and there's like this little like hallway and a chest at the end. And there's this large black imposing figure in like black armor. And he like turns around and starts walking towards you. And you're like, okay, fuck. I know by looking at this guy, he's going to be difficult. And then you fight him, and he kills you at 1 hit. And he does it again, and you become then afraid of these fuckers. And there's another one up a little bit further as well. And these fucking black knights are just kicking your ass. And then I go in, after playing the game 6 times, and I walk up to him with a fucking wooden shield. And he swings at me, and I go, parry, riposte.
Dead.
Parry, riposte. Parry, riposte. Like, literally just stand in front of him, and every swing he makes, I'm blocking it and hitting him. I'm blocking it and hitting him. And then I just kind of step over his fucking corpse and walk down the hall. And I'm just
drag your
like,
foot
yeah,
across
I'm a
his
fucking
face
badass.
as you do it.
Yeah, you know?
It's funny.
I just
even
like
as-
that feeling.
Even as you were describing that, like, you know, you walk down the hall and you see the Black Knight. I'm like, oh man, I remember that. That was
And his
some-
back
that
is
was some
turned to you,
crazy
and he
shit.
turns round, and you're like, oh,
It sounds so
Because
cool.
you know by the time you get there, it's like, okay, all the guys have been fighting have been these like real skinny guys, like flailing their swords around, and he turns around with like a giant ass sword, full armor, really big,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, this is different.
it's
I
just,
love-
the game is a masterpiece of just teaching you how to play it. It's just
Yeah.
so good.
I love when people come up and like they ask about Bloodborne, and I always tell them that like the first thing you have to learn, because like I haven't played Dark Souls 1, I haven't played Dark Souls 2, I've played Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, right? But I always tell people that like Bloodborne breaks you. Like, well, for me it did. Like I wasn't completely sure what to expect when I went into it, but I started the game, and for like I don't know how many days I was stuck in the first area. Just because I couldn't wrap my head around why or how I was getting killed, like, every time by, like, just some fucking scrub enemies. And then after a while, like, after putting the game down for a while, and then picking it up and then playing it again, I then kind of, like, it kind of clicked, kind of like, as Ben was saying, like, I know Kung Fu. Like, it kind of clicked, and I was just like, oh, okay, so I can just do this, and just do this, and
Yeah.
this is all
Okay. You
okay.
get confidence in
And-
what you're doing. It's
Yeah,
great.
and it's just that I think it's just that moment that makes the Dark Souls games. Just that moment of just like, oh, I know how to take care of this enemy, and then you just fucking just bulldoze through it. Like,
You know, I still haven't finished the DLC for Bloodborne.
I know you haven't.
Yeah,
Only
that's
try and do it
because the Orphan of Kos made myself and Cathal cry, like literally cry, and then after once we beat the Orphan of Kos, or is it Cosm?
Orphan of Kos.
No, that's a joke, you know. Kos, or some say Cosm.
Especially because he listened
sorry.
and that was a joke.
I clearly wouldn't know because I haven't platinumed it.
Yeah, I know. Not many people have actually.
Filthy scrub.
About
I'm
1% of the
going to
people
platinum
have.
today. That's what I'm going to
I don't know.
No,
No,
you're not,
platinum
Carol.
I'm gonna platinum it.
The
You should
platinum,
platinum.
the platinum is a grueling experience because
Yeah.
of those fucking chalice dungeons.
Yep.
Carl, remember me and you fighting that undead giant in the chalice dungeons with the big fucking ball and chain?
Yeah.
And eventually I was just like, no, I can't do this with somebody else. I need to do it by myself because his health is too large with 2 people.
Yeah.
And I had to do it solo. And then I eventually did it. And
I made a video on YouTube showing how to beat it real easy. I did it like without dying. It's a piece of piss. Once you learn its attacks.
Actually, Darren, you finished the Dark Souls 3 DLCs, right? The Ring City.
yeah, I've beaten every boss in every Souls game at this
Okay.
stage. I've done all the content, yeah.
What did you think of the last boss in the Ring City compared to Orphan of Cost?
Try not to go into too much detail because I would like to.
I'm
play
trying
Dark
not
Souls,
to.
yeah.
That's why I said the last boss.
Are you talking about the optional last boss or
No, the main last boss in like the
like
open area.
the lore? Well, they're both in open areas. Are we talking underground or
Above ground.
above ground? Okay. I thought thematically, it was the perfect way to end Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Like lore wise, it was it was just a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Difficulty wise, it doesn't compare to the Orphan of Kos.
I thought it was quite similar to the Orphan of Cost fight.
No, I thought I beat him on my second try. I think.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah.
The one that's underground though, the true fuck you Dark Souls fans
Yeah.
boss that's under the
Yeah.
ground. My God, that one I beat the DLC except for him, and then spent an entire day fighting him the next day. Like I
Fair
probably
enough.
did him about 20-30 times, and then I beat him eventually. But like that's one of those ones where you need to learn like everything.
Everything.
You
Yeah.
just know all
everything.
the animations.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much longer on Dark Souls because
Okay.
we will definitely be talking about it when we play it again. But I'm pretty happy, and by pretty happy I mean ecstatic that it's being remastered.
Yeah.
But speaking of games I would like to have remastered as well, Demon Souls on PS3. If Dark Souls Remaster sells well, they just might bring back Demon
Do you
Souls.
think-
They closed the servers last week, I think, for Demon Souls.
Do you think
did
that they could that they could do like a Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare style deal and release the 2 remastered?
I think they would have announced that by now if they were doing that.
But I feel
Just to
like
create hype.
it might
I mean,
be
it's
like,
it's like 3 months away, isn't it? 3-4 months away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
no, it's going to get its own separate game because it was Sony published it, didn't they? So it's like
Yeah.
down to them.
That's
I
the thing is
reckon
that Sony basically own Demon's Souls and Bloodborne. So to remake Demon Souls would mean you're selling it to one market as opposed to all of them. So it doesn't make sense to remaster it. But I'm just hoping that if Dark Souls does really well, they might just go back and remaster Demon Souls, which is a phenomenal game.
It was really good.
Demon Souls is fantastic. The problem is that it just they learned as they went. So there's some things in Demon Souls like the weapon upgrading, for example, is just trash compared to
Yeah.
like Dark Souls 3, which
It
was
could
way
do with
easier.
a remaster, but it does have a good foundation.
I reckon at E3. I mean,
You've got a
Shadow
heart of
Colossus
gold.
remake next month.
Don't let them take it from you. Yeah, we've got Shadow of the Colossus coming out,
Yes.
which is one I'm definitely going to play as well. That remaster.
I've never played it, so I can't
I
wait.
actually only like played it like last year with Kill because I showed up at his house one day and he was there playing a game. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, Shadow Colossus, and I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting. And he was fighting the boss with the giant ass sword, and like I see him
Spoilers.
like scurrying around him. Well, it's like the cover art.
Whatever.
I see him like scurrying around him, and I'm just like, oh, give me a shot of that. And then basically I just ended up going there like every day and just finishing the game, and I was like, oh my god, this game is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I remember going into GameStop one day and ended up talking about games with the guy working there. This is a true story. And he asked me if I'd played Shadow of the Colossus, and I said no, I hadn't. And he literally went to the second-hand section, got the Shadow of the Colossus that they had, bought it himself, and gave it to me and said, go home and play that now.
What?
Shit, really?
Yeah.
That's
and I was
amazing.
like, okay. I was like, okay. And I still have it. He bought, like, he actually, like, purchased the game for me.
What was his name?
Chiko's
His
remember.
name...
Nameless.
I'm not
employee.
gonna say his name out.
I
I'm
know,
not gonna
I know.
call him out. But if you don't believe me, I will.
Not give a shit.
I'll tell you off mic. But I'm not gonna have that on record. So if you had asked me 2 weeks ago if I could have any game remastered, I would have said Demon's Souls or Dark Souls. So my dream has literally come true here. But what other games would you guys love to see remastered? Maybe not number one, but like just some good ideas or some ones you'd love to see remastered.
Well, I've got like 3 in particular, and they were both on the original Xbox. First one is, I'm pretty sure you'll all agree, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
If that was remade using a modern engine, that would be just...
The Frostbite engine now. Oh my god.
That's one I'm surprised hasn't been remade by fans, actually.
Yeah. Didn't they... There's like slight mods to it, I think. Or someone... I think I remember reading a couple of years back, someone was trying to remake it. They only had like the first planet done. And that was it. Don't know what happened with that afterwards. Probably got shut down.
Yeah.
That and Otogi 1 and 2, which is another From Software game, which not many people played because it was an original Xbox game only.
I think I've seen a single screenshot of those games.
It's like Devil May Cry, but with an ancient Japanese theme to it, where you can destroy pretty much all the scenery as well with your fucking sword. It's really good. Highly recommend playing it.
Okay. I probably won't unless they remaster it.
Yeah, and even then it might be, I don't know if it's going to be like Xbox exclusive, which would be a good reason to buy an Xbox.
Kind of.
Yeah.
One
yeah,
reason
maybe.
on a list of 1 reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, Otogi 1 and 2, them.
Shikozy, Ben, do you have any ideas?
I was thinking, but I don't know. It's a bit of a short notice question. I can't think off the top of my head what massive games I had on Xbox, which I guess was probably the first of this massive generation of games. And
Could say Burnout 3.
well, actually, saying that, Burnout Paradise, which is strongly rumored to be getting a remaster at the moment.
That's too recent, though.
No, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's
around the same time as Dark Souls.
longer than Dark Souls.
I remember.
It feels way more recent than that.
I remember playing
So I apologise.
Burnout 2 Takedown in a caravan holiday when I was...
No, it's Burnout Point of Impact. Burnout 3 was Takedown, wasn't it?
What?
Or was I wrong?
Burnout 2 was Takedown. I'm going to look at this.
I thought Burnout 2 was Point of Impact.
Burnout 2... Oh, it was Burnout 3 Takedown. So, but I remember
There you
playing
go.
Burnout 2. It was...
Oh, yeah, I just
was still
spunked
Burnout
it at your
2.
face.
I remember playing Burnout 2 when I was, I don't know, like 14, 15, something like that. In a caravan holiday with my dad, and we started playing it about 8 o'clock in the evening, doing the crash mode, the junction, stuff like that, where you can just cause the most financial damage to this intersection. We played that till about 6 in the morning, constantly, just crashing into shit. Yeah, and then we both went to bed, and then woke up about lunchtime. That was awesome. But yeah, Burnout Paradise. I would love to see that remaster come out. I'd definitely get that. I remember just driving through the streets on Burnout Paradise, and it was so fast that my brain could no longer decide how to control the car, where to turn. Like, there was no moment where you just reached zen and stuff slowed down. You just waited until you crashed. Because it was so fast.
That's what I loved about the Burnout games. It's just like it wasn't like the whole like GT Sport where it's like this is a driving simulator.
Yeah.
Like Burnout is just like, okay, you're gonna go really really fucking fast,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna blow up, and then you just do it again. And because I love playing Burnout Revenge is probably one of my favorite ones. Just simply because of the fact that it's like you're racing against your friends, whatever, or you're racing against people in general, right? And you're in first position, and then you just fuck up somehow, and then your car just fucking flips over, and you're about to blow up. But then so you can save your explosion for when people are like.
I remember that.
remember
Yeah,
that.
you could
Yeah,
detonate
yeah.
And
yourself.
you take out like fucking like the 3 people behind who are like coming
Yeah,
up
you
behind
just
you.
self-destruct pretty much.
Yeah, you just self-destruct, and then you just keep you get all your boost back and more. So you're just flying back off again and just like looking back and like fuck y'all.
That's why the intersection crashes were so good, because you would do your crash first and then land in like a big pile of cars and then fucking blow up. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
so good.
I hope they do that, because the The detail and every street had a challenge. Every corner, every intersection had a challenge. Every jump, every sign. There was so much to do in that world. It was. I hope they do that.
Actually,
speaking of like
about it
racing
now,
games,
the Burnout games are really good party games.
Yes.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Not enough players on one console for me.
I think the
Party
F-Zero
game
GX.
has to be four
No,
players.
it's passing
like.
the pad. You pass the controller.
Oh no, that's worse. No, I hate pass the pad, personally. But hey,
This isn't tampons.
Burnout's good.
All right. It's just fucking PS4.
It's our opinion, Darren.
tampons aren't pads.
Oh, all right.
Hitting you
Yeah,
with the
Fanny
knowledge.
Dynamite.
For me, I think of games I would love to have remastered, and then I'm like, wait, no, I've played that remastered. Like the original Half-Life had a fan remake.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
With and I've played that, so I was like, okay, well, that's one idea that I had that didn't work. And there's a couple other ones as well. I was thinking like, Ocarina of Time, but I suppose that was remastered for DS, right?
Yeah.
3DS, yeah.
Excuse me, the 3DS. One I thought of is the original Witcher game. Because
Yeah.
I played
actually.
about half of the original Witcher game.
That's a good
and then
idea.
I just can't do that. I just
No.
can't play it anymore.
Not at
It's
all.
just so bad. Because it was just so low budget,
Yeah.
Self-published.
and then The
weren't
Witcher 2 kind of catapulted them. Oh yeah. They had I remember someone telling a story on some videos I was watching, where they remember CD Projekt Red's first presentation at a games conference, and they had like a tiny little booth
Yeah, with just
with like
little
one poster
fold out
or
chairs
something.
and shit like
Yeah.
and fold out chairs, and they were like, this is the game that we made over in Poland that no one in the games community cares about right now or whatever,
Yeah.
So I would love to see that remastered. Holy shit.
Yes.
And do like a trilogy.
Oh yes. That'd be good.
The Witcher trilogy, like that'd be fantastic, and I would go back and play it for sure.
I think I would play that.
Even
as
though
well.
I never actually finished The Witcher 3.
I'm still playing
Okay.
Witcher 3.
I am like 260 hours later.
Those are
I'm
rookie
about
numbers, Carl.
100. Yeah.
Rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers. You won't put more than that in it.
What?
You won't put more than 260 hours into it.
In The Witcher, I easily have. I was over 300 hours last time I checked. On my New Game Plus, Carl, and I haven't even started DLCs.
Screenshotter didn't
Suck
happen.
his dick
Okay, I
about
will.
4 podcasts ago.
Anyway,
You
can I
can't
sort
back
of like
out
add
from
something
that.
else and say
Then-
F-Zero GX for the Switch? If they
How do you get a receipt for that?
fuck off, if they bring that out HD,
Is that
100, I'll give them
contactless
100
as well?
quid, whatever.
Reggie, yeah.
Online play,
I'll
fucking
give
whatever.
100 quid.
You can't. Too late. Too late. I'll tag it. I will
did
put a
I?
marker on YouTube
Well,
in the comments.
okay,
So we'll go GX.
100 quid
He's
and a
making it
sub job.
himself.
There you
He
go.
doesn't have to be good. He's just gonna make it himself. Need.
Who did I say?
Contactless suck job.
Who did I say that would be? Was that Reggie? Yeah, but he's got fuck all to do with it. He's just an announcer.
No.
Can't take it back.
Whatever. I don't remember saying that.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Mean. Well, it was on 4 discs when it came out. Maybe they're just remaking a disc at a time. You could do it. You could do it in less.
This is inspiration.
Herder Final Fantasy VII remaster. Ugh,
The
they
remake
can't-
that's been...
What a fucking job they're gonna do to that game. They're splitting it in 2 parts, right? And
Three.
I bet you 3. Oh Jesus Christ! And it's not
Well-
it's not gonna be turn based either. I guarantee that.
Well, have you seen the recent news? The people they were working with, they've like parted ways. So whatever you saw previously isn't probably going to be representative of the final gameplay. So there may be a chance that it's going back to turn-based. And the fact that they're saying it's in 3 parts, I ain't got a clue why, because it's not that big of a game really. You can vision like 20 or 30 hours.
No, it wasn't.
No, 3.
It wasn't.
Three
It was
di- three
not.
discs.
It was not 20 hours. It was easily 60.
Yeah, well,
200.
yeah,
Easily.
okay. But it's not the biggest RPG ever. Even back then, it wasn't the biggest RPG you could get. It's just, and there's not that many environments compared to some other games you can get. Like Final Fantasy VI was bigger, Chrono Trigger was bigger. I think
So
it's just the.
you've actually just touched on another game I'd love a remaster of, Chrono Trigger. And I'm not
Oh,
saying
yeah.
rebuild the game, but just maybe just polish everything up, maybe a little bit better pixel art. Oh man,
Yeah.
if they release Chrono Trigger, if I can get Chrono Trigger on the Switch,
Have you seen the the Octopath demo on the Switch.
Yes, and I am fucking
Like,
hyped. That game looks very good.
If they had the Chrono Trigger engine using that, well, no, that engine on the Chrono Trigger remake.
Yeah.
Oh.
Octopath looks good though. I hate the name because it sounds
Yeah.
like an octopus.
I think it's just a placeholder name for the time being.
Can I just interject here? So I was just looking at news for releasing a remastered version of Burnout Paradise in Japan later this year. It will be available on PS4, March 4K and HDR. So it's confirmed as it's been rebooted.
I had March 22nd.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Release date hasn't been confirmed outside of Japan, but Japan it'll be March 16th.
That's where they had the meeting.
Metal Gear Solid. I know it was remastered for GameCube, but Metal Gear Solid Remaster would be fantastic. Let me control the camera.
Well, import it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shit, that would be good actually. Metroid Prime Trilogy, remaster that.
Oh, Metroid.
Well,
yeah,
just the
for sure.
just the first one. The first one's an absolute 10 out of 10 classic. The second one was a bit better. The third one is just trash.
I thought the third. I couldn't finish the third one. The second one was great, but the first Metroid Prime game is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Give me an Okami reboot or remaster.
It's already out. It's already out.
Is there? What?
It came out December.
Yeah. It's 15
Fuck
quid.
off.
PS4, 4K, boom.
Wait,
You
yeah.
can get it for 15
No
quid.
way.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I'm off. See you.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Oh
How did
my
you not
god,
know
that
it was out?
no, that went over my head completely. I did not know that.
It's
Yeah.
it's £20
I'll
delivered.
pick one up for you.
Right now.
No, I don't use discs.
And 2 massive posters, some kind of bag.
Nah.
I'm looking at that. 50 quid.
Posters are a bit tacky, guys. Like, unless you frame them. If you frame them,
Yeah,
it's
true.
good.
Yeah.
If you stick a poster on the wall, like, I'm not 16 anymore, like, you know.
I worry
Just trying
about
to think
that
of
paint.
Just trying to think of other games. Maybe the original BioShock. That was 10
That
years
was
ago now.
remastered.
No, it wasn't remastered. It was upscaled. Like, I want them to rebuild it. Like, with
Did
tech.
they
Oh, new
upscaled it and
engine.
then
Yeah,
broke
yeah,
it?
but that's
There's
a
there's a
remake.
difference between a port and a.
Yeah, but
Okay.
remaster. That's a remake then. in
So
that
okay,
sense.
so so remake is
we
where you
need it?
rebuild
Do
it.
we need it?
Where you
Remaster is where
rebuild
you
it,
just
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
Shadow of the Colossus is getting a remake.
yeah.
A
So
remake.
that's yeah,
But Dark Souls is only getting a remaster.
yeah. But there's like a rumor it's using the Dark Souls 3 engine.
No, they denied that.
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Bandai Namco said that they denied that, and they also denied the fact that it's 50%
No
off.
discounts.
Yeah, which is shit.
Yeah.
I would take a Half-Life 2 remake at this stage as well, or remaster. I mean, we're not getting Half-Life 3, so let me just
Half-Life 3
replay that.
confirmed.
let me just play Half-Life 2 again with a fucking crossbow, and just wreck lads. Yeah, the game. I remember the game looking better than it does look. Like, if you look at screenshots now, it has aged. I mean, the game's 13 years old. Like,
Well, yeah. The physics is still good. The game's still good.
oh well, yeah, no, it's still a 10 out of 10 game. That portion where you're in the town and there's the zombies everywhere and you're using the gravity gun to shoot
Ravenholm.
saws at them. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, hell
Jesus.
yeah.
That period of gameplay is there's nothing
Yes.
that beats that in
Yeah,
my
that
head. Like,
That I stopped playing it at that bit because it was just fucking too much for me. Like going into Rome and then this fucking this black spike over a year later and then finished it. It was so good.
But have you finished the add-ons yet? Expansions, 1 and 2.
Episode 1, I think. I've got episode 2.
I have.
Episode 2 is just as good as the main game.
Yes. Episode 1, no. Episode 2, yes. Man, do you remember when we used to joke about Half-Life 3 being a thing? Like, people have just even stopped joking about it now. Like,
Yeah.
There was a Twitter account which was just Half-Life 3 confirmed. Like he would just,
Yes.
just tweet that. It's half.
Milkman left me 3 bottles of milk today. Half-Life 3 confirmed. and shit.
Yeah, it was good.
Seen
And he would just
Half-Life
tweet
in my
every day.
toast.
No,
Half-Life
it's
3
been
confirmed.
announced. I think it was. Has Half-Life 3 been announced live?
No. Really? That's great.
Oh, one of the best bot accounts on Twitter, speaking of games, is when you mention Wind Waker, the official just the official just chime in going, "Schmeh."
what?
Do you know the Wind Waker, the fish that goes schmeh?
Oh, yes.
Right? If you just mention Wind Waker on Twitter, the fish bottle just come up going schmeh every now and again.
So this week, we watched Iron Man 2.
We did.
It was Iron Man
shit.
2.
Spoilers.
It's shit. There's my review. Okay, moving on.
It's not shit. If
It's
there's one thing
so
I've
bad.
learned from rewatching and then looking for a discussion from other people as well, is that there is so many details in this film that have just been lost. It's given
Let me pull up my notes actually, so we can
It's
talk
given me a
about this.
second liking to this film. It's given me more of an appreciation for this film. The only reason you consider it shit is because Iron Man was so good, and it was never gonna hit that same bar because Iron Man was just like, bang, here's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, here's what it's gonna be like, and then Iron Man 2 just tweaked that flavor a little bit, gave you the repercussions of what it's going to be like with these superheroes in the world, and this is what it's going to be like, this is what they've got to deal with. That was the first time they mastered that formula when Iron Man 2 came out. And
Yeah,
there's
but
actual
I think what
true
they do is the
consequences.
best parts in the movie are literally just things they did in the first movie. Like they introduce Iron Man with a lesser AC/DC song than in the first one, and then he's talking on the stage, but it's less interesting than the first time. You know, like there's all these recurring things that they do with Iron Man, but in just Iron Man 2, they're just all just less good.
Yeah, but no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's the first one. Like in the very end, the suit fight. It can't just be another big suit fight between, because we've kind of just skipped the entire fucking review, gone straight to the end. It was a very small fight with this film again.
Yeah, but Iron Man has villains. Iron Man has great villains, and they chose to do fucking Whiplash.
It's a terrible fucking choice.
He's the perfect opposite, because they've both had the same. I mean, even in their careers, even Mickey Rourke and Robert Downey Jr. have alleged. I mean, I don't know what Mickey Rourke's doing now, but still, at the time he was re-emerging off the back of The Wrestler, Robert Downey Jr.'s career, and he's got all these posters up on his wall, and they even mirror what Robert Downey, all sorts of shit. But they've got two genius fathers, and they go the two opposite directions. Like they are literally, somebody say this morning, it's like a sins of your father film, and trying to live up to the legacy they've left behind. Guy, it's a great casting, and the reason that Mickey Rourke plays him so well is because he's distant, because you don't know whether Robert Downey Jr. can take him or not. You don't know enough about it. Against the wall, a little bit of a smile, and the two guys are in there watching him, and then the next time you see him, and all they want to do is make a phone call. Like you know this guy's really dangerous. Like exact opposite again to Robert Downey Jr.
That Mickey Rourke will fucking come after you with a whip on a random after you just randomly decide to get in a race car and drive around the place.
It's a great set piece, that.
It's a great set piece, and that's the thing, right? Is there was someone in a writing room saying, "Do you know what would be really cool if he was cutting cars up and they were flipping around the place and stuff?" And then they wrote the rest of it around that, and it doesn't serve the story. Do you know what I mean? There's some movies, especially action movies, where you can tell that they wanted a set piece. Oh, it'd be cool if they had a fight on a fucking Ferris wheel. So now, for some reason, the characters are going to run and get on a Ferris wheel when they're trying to escape because the set piece is good. And that was one of those moments, and it just does not serve a film. Look at Blade Runner. Look at Blade Runner, right? Look at Blade Runner 2049, right? The big scene at the end of that, the set piece, is just like them fighting in a bit of water. It's not like they're on the top of a fucking Ferris wheel or some random shit. You know, they're just driving and they've already established there's a wall and they're flying and then they just land or whatever and then they fight, you know? It doesn't need to be spectacular to be spectacular. The fact that they just have Tony Stark in this fucking lame looking driving suit, it's just like, it was so bad to me.
I think when Tony Stark rocks up at this racetrack, he's just balls to the wind trying to get some kind of affirmation for his life, because he's literally counting down and dying. So he's doing what he wants to do, and this guy interrupts that and tries to give him some, and it gives him some purpose at the same time. Like he now knows he's got something left to do. And I don't know if there could have been a better place to do it. Like if it was in his garage, like Chikozy says, wearing a tank top, it wouldn't have given that thought of, oh, he's at the end of his tether, he knows he's dying, he's trying to live life to the fullest, get some kind of feeling going. Oh, by the way, there's still a bad guy. that you have to sort out because they just come into your garage and smash shit up.
Yeah.
They've had the same impact, I don't think. One thing
Well, yeah.
One thing about the racetrack is there was very little CGI. Like the Rolls Royce that gets sliced up, there's no CGI there. That was all mechanically separated and pulled apart and all that kind of stuff. It was all physical effects, and all the flips and everything like that. It was really done really well.
Then why didn't he try doing that? Why didn't he try cutting them in half? He should, instead of just smacking some cars.
Waving around, hitting other cars.
Wasn't the point of Whiplash showing up at the race just to show the world that like he can fucking take care of Iron Man whenever he wants to? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just him showing up that he wanted to fuck him up. And I think the point of him just showing up.
It's like burn the legacy. Like that's what he said. It's like, oh well, you failed. He goes, did I fail? You make a god bleed. Everyone stop believing in him. I am from old country, and that's fine and it's good. I just think that you don't need to have to do it in a fucking race. Like it doesn't serve the story.
Let him
do it at something that Tony Stark would be doing.
Yeah, but like that is something Tony Stark would be doing. He's at like one of the fucking like he's at one of the like the biggest racing like events in the world, and obviously all eyes are on him because this is fucking Iron Man, and he shows up and like it's like obviously like it's like he attacked Iron Man like or Tony like in this like in like where Tony feels safe because Tony's just like yeah I'm chill, I'm just doing whatever I want to do right now. And this guy shows up in a fucking tank top and two fucking electrifying whips on his arm and starts slashing them up. Yeah, I mean,
he's a rich billionaire philanthropist with too many things to do in his world, and he's bored.
I just think doing it on a race course is just fucking lame. There's better ways to portray all of those things.
So where else would you have done it?
Yeah. So if Tony Stark is dying, right? And he knows he's dying. He doesn't really seem to be trying to stop it. He seems very resigned to it. There's a scene later where they're like, "Oh yeah, this is lithium dioxide. There you go, you're grand now. That's all you needed." So are we saying then that he was not that he couldn't figure it out, but that he just wanted to die? Like he was like self-destructive. Okay, so why is he self-destructive? But didn't he just commercialize world peace and save the world? And he's like, I'm doing all this good stuff, but it looks like my life might be at risk. Guess I'm just gonna let myself die.
Maybe it was just an excuse to be an absolute crazy motherfucker, and he could use it as.
I feel like there are multiple points, and there's no lines connecting some of them for me. So they went, we want to have a scene where there's a race car cut up. Okay, well why is he in a racetrack? Okay. So he's being self-destructive because he's dying. Okay, so why is he dying? Okay, it's been poisoning him. Okay, why is he not trying to fix it? Oh, I don't know, because he wants to die. Okay, why is that happening? Ugh.
I got to admit, I mean, the story as a whole, it's not the best story. They couldn't have really gone and improved on Iron Man 2 a great deal, because I don't think they have in the Iron Man series improved on Iron Man, because it just was so. I think it was so good. So they played safe with the story, played safe with the character arc and the casting that was exactly his opposite, and just played the very safe steps in that story. So they had to have kind of these spectacles with the racetrack, and I mean the cameos at that, like Elon Musk's at that fucking racetrack. Did you spot that?
No.
Elon Musk is there because he sat down, didn't he?
Oh, is he? I didn't actually see
Elon
that.
Musk before he cast it because he wanted to try and portray him. Interesting fact that I found out today as well. You know Justin Hammer's warehouse where he's building all this stuff? Mm-hmm. That is SpaceX.
Oh.
Yeah, it's filmed at SpaceX.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the actual place, though. That's meant.
But yeah, I think I can't think of a better place they would have, or a different place where it could have had that impact. But yeah, they played very safe with the story. Maybe a bit boring with the story, but it served its purpose of playing that link to the Avengers. Just ticking all the boxes as they were going and still giving a bit of a spectacle for the cinema. Which is what they've carried on throughout, like every Marvel film has been.
Gary, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, It, I mean, I get what the redeeming features of his casting. Like he's the opposite. It kind of makes a good villain. But honestly, I just thought he was kind of lame. Like he wasn't really like I get his motivations. It's like your or my father was killed by your innovation essentially, and he resents him for that, and he wants to like publicly take him down. But I don't know, it just kind of felt very samey to the first one.
Do you know what I find is interesting? I find it's interesting the way like we're all reviewing it in different ways. So I've noticed just there that Ben, when he's reviewing it, he's not only just reviewing the movie, he's reviewing the impact it has on the whole Marvel universe. So he's not taking the movie as a standalone, he's also taking the after effects of the movie as well. Whereas, well, I know I do it myself. Whereas I'm like, not well at the start. I like when I watched the movie again, I was like, oh, that was shit. It did this and did this, and this wasn't there, whatever. But like now, when like hearing Ben talk about his review, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I can see how that plays into
This is why I wanted to look at other
things,
opinions.
Yeah,
as well,
you see,
because
I'm just
you watch the film and you make your opinion. And I already went in with the mindset that it wasn't a great Iron Man film. But then when you start seeing all these other details that were in the film, like there's loads of these things that people have picked up on. And then when you see it back, you think, fuck yeah. Like Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell thought it would be a good idea. He'd be the kind of personality who would own his own self tanning place, and he would use his own self tanning. So he actually had self tanning stained hands throughout the film. So you'll see it in the hangar where he's talking to Ivan, and you'll see him like lift up his hand, and you could see it's just completely stained with fake tan. And that was Sam Rockwell's own little detail, just little character details like that.
Yeah, but that's just extra details. That doesn't make the film any more entertaining. That's just like little fucking tidbits and Easter eggs.
Could you not argue that like all those little details can just build up to a much better film?
Well, no, if it's not entertaining, who gives a fuck what they've done if they put so much fucking details into it?
No, but the thing is, like some of the details you might not notice consciously, but like it's not just about stuff you outwardly notice, because it could be also about like setting.
For example,
but it don't make it any more entertaining. You might on a second viewing like, oh yeah, I've noticed that. That's a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah,
the film's still shit though, man.
I mean, yeah, if you didn't find the film entertaining, that's fine, because it is just this spectacle of a Marvel film. They have boring soundtracks, boring stories, and they rely on the characters and the script of the characters. That's all they have. So when you've got Mickey Rourke who's perfecting his Russian lines, and it was highly regarded as perfecting his Russian lines. A lot of them got cut out.
No, it was criticised.
His Russian was spot on. Like, he spent so much time perfecting his Russian lines. You send me an article after this where he was being criticised after the fact.
I will do, because he came out to it arguing it, saying, oh no, I spent a lot of time perfecting it. But people were saying it sounded like shit
or was inaccurate, because he was mumbling a lot of his lines. But there's Russian critics. I will send you an article. There's Russian critics out there who said his Russian was impeccable, and you can tell that he put all this time into it. So his little detail of the Russian, you didn't even question it. You just thought, yeah, he's a Russian guy, whatever, fine. Yeah, we still know it's Mickey Rourke. Then you've got Sam Rockwell with some of the detail from him. Then you've got Robert Downey Jr., who knew that Gwyneth Paltrow was actually sick on set and decided to throw in some lines to build around that, because she had a fucking cold for most of the film. She was actually really sick. And there's a bit where he says, I'm going to need you to wear a face mask or to stop breathing on me or something like that. That's not in the script. It's just because Gwyneth Paltrow was sick. All these little details that all the individual characters put in build up. And what's the phrase they use? The suspension of belief, or whatever it's called. I can't remember what the phrasing is. Yes, it enhances that. It stops you questioning the little details and just focus on the fact that actually it's a bit of a droll film, because it's super safe. And they haven't tried to beat the first one. They've just tried to carry on and maintain the trajectory for the rest of the films, which I think they did. They did. It was a tick box exercise, and it worked. But yes, don't get me wrong. I still think the film wasn't great, but the details in there was crazy good detail in there. Here's one line from me from Robert Downey Jr. You know, when he's looking at the pictures of Black Widow as she's modelling and stuff, he came up with the line, she modelled in Tokyo. Did you model in Tokyo? And there's a little reference to Lost in Translation with Bill Murray. There you go.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So yeah. Page 2 of my 5-page review here.
I forgot that this is how they introduced Black Widow. Actually, when she walked in, I was like, "Oh yeah, she's like, I'm an employee," and then he promotes her because he finds her
Yes.
attractive,
Natalie
and
Rushman.
then she's a double agent.
Yeah. She like
Okay.
takes
Can we
peppers.
talk
And then
about
the
Don
thing-
Cheadle? Because we
Wait, hold on, just one moment.
Okay,
I'm not done talking. I was noticing that scene where she like, she arrives and he's like, "Oh, I like what I see here," kind of thing, and she's like, "This is a sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen." There's no way that you would have that scene in 2017.
I agree.
Hell no. Hell no.
Not a chance.
Did you
For sure.
notice when you know that when they're fighting in the party, and the two guys come crashing through the ceiling, and Gwyneth it's the shot of Gwyneth Paltrow and Scarlett Johansson. Gwyneth Paltrow cowers with fear, but Natalie goes into like a fighting stance,
Okay.
a readying stance.
I did notice that.
And this is before you know her to be Black Widow.
You know, she's an agent. Yeah, yeah.
Just little nod again.
I did notice
The
that.
devil's in the details.
Yeah, but it does make the movie good.
No, I agree.
I think this movie is better than Iron Man 3. Before I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I would probably personally put this below the last two we watched.
You know the cameos that are in there. Do you know who Larry Ellison is? You know, he's leaving his expo, and Stan Lee's there, and I think Elon Musk is in that scene maybe as well. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can't remember. But Larry Ellison is there, and I was like, who the fuck knows Larry Ellison? Because again, this is part of my little research I did, and he's the founder of Oracle, and he pretty much is, barring Elon Musk, the closest thing to a Tony Stark. Because with so much money, and his company Oracle actually sponsors the expo that Tony Stark's at. So when he's arguing with Gwyneth Paltrow, there's all the sponsors. Sega was on there as well, I noticed, but Oracle is also down at the bottom. It's like a software company, massive software company. But yeah, if you looked at a picture of him now, it looks like Tony Stark, like with the beard and shit like that, and how he dresses.
So you wanted to talk about Don Cheadle?
Yes, because we briefly touched this before we started the recording, because I thought it's very clever how, and I think Marvel's doing this quite nicely. If you think about how big their universe is, there will be some stages where they're going to have to recast or change things up a bit. Perfect example being Green Lantern and Deadpool and stuff like that, and he acknowledges that. But when Don Cheadle comes into the courtroom, where he's in front of the Senate, which is led by Hydra, by the way, I don't know if you noticed that either.
What do you mean it's led by Hydra?
The guy at the head of the table. He was connected to Hydra.
He's the Hydra agent.
Yes.
No, I did notice that. Yeah.
But anyway, so Don Cheadle emerges, and Robert Downey Jr. gives him a look as if to say, "Who the fuck are you?" Because it's not Terrence Howard. So the dialogue between the two of them is, Robert Downey Jr. says, "Didn't expect to see you here," and he says, "It's me. I'm here. Let's move on." Just acknowledges the fact in one little. I can't remember what they call it. A little tip for tat, whatever it's called, etitat. That he's not Terrence Howard. I thought it was very clever, and then it's never questioned ever again.
No one's ever like, "You look like a totally different human being."
Yeah. Just that one point, didn't expect to see you.
But yeah, no, I get it. It's like a little mini reference. Like, I didn't expect to see you here, like, because you're just arriving at this hearing, but also you're a different actor. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, there were some parts I liked in the movie, and there always is going to be, right?
Sam
but
Rockwell, loved Sam Rockwell.
It just kind of, is he Justin Hammer?
Yeah, I just think he's.
I like that scene where he rescues Mickey Rourke, Ivan. You know, where the prisoner comes in with the same number on the uniform, and he knows exactly what's happening, and he like knocks him out, and then the place blows up. Really like that.
Yeah.
And then I like the scene where he arrives and like Hammer is there with his like little table and the food being prepared.
You know,
But then there's like, you have this whole like other thing where they're like, "Oh, like I brought you in and now you're just like redoing the robots because drones are better," and he wants this fucking bird and that whole thing.
yeah.
It's just like, this is not
I
my
want
bird.
my
This is
bird.
not. Now I'm just going to ignore you and
It's
not
so
say
stupid.
anything.
But
And
there's
then
a
it's just
You know when he's in that jail cell and the guy comes in. The guy who comes in is a guy called Mark Caber, and he's been Mickey Rourke's stunt double since he come back into the fray of acting. Like some of the stuff he did in The Wrestler. He was,
the guy, the guy who was it
that takes his place.
replaced him in the cell.
Yeah. So he's actually Mickey Rourke's go-to stunt double, and he's done shitloads in the MCU since as well. Yeah, I know, it's so cool, isn't it? It's fucking.
Ben is just delighted with his notes.
I am literally got a fucking notepad on my desk here.
What page are we on now, Ben?
But you notice that some of the Russian lines are never picked up for as well. Like where he's in that air hangar talking to him, where he's been saved and he meets him. He says something in Russian and you never get to see what he says.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what he says?
Yeah, go on, tell us.
He says, "If I get killed, do not wake me. It is better to die than live in your world." And I think if they'd put the subtitles up on that...
Whoa.
Actually, you know what? I don't even know if it was ever an option to put subtitles up on that. Maybe you could. But if they'd ever put that up, I think that would have helped his character development a bit. Because he really didn't give a shit about himself. He just gave a shit about de-prophetizing, if you like, Tony Stark. And I think that would have maybe helped the story along. I don't know. Clutching at straws. What do we think?
Any final thoughts, guys? I mean, I think regarding what you're after saying there, Ben, yeah, it would have fleshed his character out. And I think my problem with looking back at it, I feel like they've done this character now multiple times. The one, like the twins in Avengers 2 are the exact same. You know, the bomb that nearly killed us had Stark on it and it killed our family. And it's just like, we get it now. And then in Civil War, it's like, you know, these superheroes, they're doing bad shit sometimes to people. And then you've got like Zemo in Civil War who's like, oh, I'm not doing this because I'm Hydra. I'm doing it because it killed you. Tony Stark killed my... And it's just like... Jesus Christ, like, and it's done better than this, you know, but maybe I'm being harsher on it because I've seen it now happen 100 times, you know, but hey.
Couldn't that be like, I don't know, it's just reinforcing the point that they're trying to make, that like all this shit just kind of started with Starks.
Sorry, you said it was reinforcing the point you're trying to make?
No, not the point I'm trying to make. The point that like Marvel's trying to make, or like even like in the comics, like all the like the, well, obviously the super soldier shit started with Captain America, right? But even Captain America, like Tony's dad had a hand to play in Captain America, and it's just like Tony has kind of been continuing his dad's work by just basically by making all these weapons and all, like the Iron Man suit. So I know, I feel like I do feel like, even though it's all like, oh yeah, I'm now a bad guy because Tony Stark did this to me or whatever, it's kind of showing you like the far-reaching consequences of like what Tony had been doing with the weapons development.
Yeah, no, I agree, I get it. I'm just saying that it seems to be a constant thing Marvel are going back to all the time.
It's kind of like in a, well, this is a complete reference from nowhere, but it's kind of like the same with the DC universe, where like everyone references Flash going back in time as to like why there's multiverses and all this other shit. Like it's just like, oh, why did this happen? Oh, it's because Flash went back in time. I feel like that's the same. That's the kind of same thing.
I just feel like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sometimes heroes do less of the hero things and more dealing with the hero things.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see as we go on.
It's kind of more about
too much. I never asked for this sort of fucking thing.
Or
going
like
on.
consequences of what they do,
Yeah.
as opposed
I'm like,
to
fuck it,
what
yeah.
actually they're doing.
Especially at the end of the first Iron Man, it's like, I'm Iron Man. Like, yeah, fucking prove it. Don't fucking back down now. Don't fucking whinge about it.
Pixar didn't happen.
They're just getting worse.
But yeah, it's.
So what's your what would be your current ranking then?
The first one.
Starting with the best one and going down of the three we've watched so far. So Iron Man 2, and The Incredible Hulk.
Probably in the order we watched them.
I agree.
Man, Incredible Hulk,
so far,
Iron Man 2. Yeah.
Well, we've got Thor up next week, and I do definitely think that Thor is better than Iron Man 2. So things will start to get interesting anyway.
I still think maybe out of 10 you're looking.
Okay.
There'll be some competition.
Before, I would say
so
6 out of 10.
just closing
now,
out Iron Man 2 then, I think the
put
sentiment
into
in
it.
general is that the movie is not
I think
fantastic,
maybe
but there are some interesting details that Ben was happy to share with us about it. That does
If
kind
they
of
worked
make
a little
it
harder to maybe make these details a
it
bit
covers
more
some of the
obvious,
cracks.
I think they
Put
would
it
have done
that way.
better. But they played so
It makes
safe,
for a
and I
better
think
second
that's
watch.
Yeah.
I would
where
say.
they fell down, because this is still early days in the Marvel universe. You see.
7, 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I would say
yeah,
maybe it was a 5,
say
and now it's risen to
6.
a 6.
I would.
Yeah, I'd be similar.
Yeah, I would have given it a 6.
Shit. What you mean after the two? No, after. I thought they were doing 2 parts
Yeah.
to Infinity War.
Just a little
All right, sorry, yeah.
little interesting tidbit I just found out there as well is that as we were recording this podcast, a news article was released saying that the 4th Avengers film has just wrapped filming. So not Infinity War, but the one after it has just finished filming. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they've just finished the second part filming it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there you go. That's interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this podcast,
But now
please
suck a
do
little
give us a
less.
like down below. Maybe consider
I
subscribing.
mind too.
There's also a bell thing, and we'll notify you when we upload videos, hopefully on a weekly schedule. We'd appreciate that as well if you wouldn't mind subscribing to that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed listening to us rant and rave about games we like and enjoy, and then also movies that suck.
Yes.
What remaster do you want
Let's
to
say
see?
Exactly.
we haven't switched gears.
Comment
Don't forget to
what you
comment in
think
the
of
video
Fire
below.
Man 2, and also what games you'd like to see remastered. And also,
Coast.
let's all comment down below a compliment
they
for
would
Carl,
coast.
because he
They're
doesn't get
coasting
enough
neutral.
compliments. He does a lot of hard work here in the podcast.
Neutral.
And,
Well, you
I
can leave
think
it
he
in
deserves a
gear.
bit of recognition.
I
If the
don't-
engine-
I
I
if the
think
engine's
you need
on.
him.
Nah.
I don't need it. Bitch, be humble.
So let's actually
Oh.
let's switch to
Change
neutral
tracks.
and
Let's just
and
change
actually
tracks.
just end the podcast, or however
Cruise
cars
along.
work. What's the gear you
Noise.
switch to when you park?
Coast.
That's pretty cool. I thought we were going to do like a third funny topic, but that's
Neutral.
cool. I mean,
Neutral.
finish
Okay.
earlier and
Let's switch
Yeah.
gears to neutral and then turn the engine
What?
off with a slow pan out and a wave to the camera. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bruh.
You.
Man's not hot.
That's a hat.